I squinted as I picked it up. The key, which had been in an old place, even retained the silly hold onto it as children. Aw. I couldn't tell if the picture was a cat or a bird. Click. The door unlocked with the spare key. I tucked it back where it belonged, where it would perhaps serve Freya again in the future. Then I entered the house. What's inside? Hello? Is anybody home? My voice reverberated through the house. There was no answer. I knew it couldn't have been that easy. After I spent a little bit warming myself up again, away from the pure white precipitation, I stepped back outside to resume my journey. Where next? That question I had asked myself in the comforts of her home. I needed to find her, but I had no clue where to go next. I didn't plan this far ahead, and now that I was here, I had no idea what to do. Did I really know her as well as I had thought? Aw, she looks so sad. She mentioned the empty zone to the north many times. Maybe she was there. Following the street that should head north, I trudged forward. The wind forced my pace to a snail's pace, and not a few times I nearly fell over, feet entrenched in the snow. The harsh wind blowing against my face felt like 1,000 invisible needles going through it. Whereas my fingers felt numb before, now they felt nothing but stinging pain. Nevertheless, I forced myself forward. I needed to go as far as I could go. I had to. It's cold outside. This sounds a bit loud for me. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. That should be good. Let me know if the sound levels are okay. It's cold outside. See, I like Freya's jacket as well. It's like a anorak. Welcome back. I'm back. I brought something special today. Something special? Try and guess, Sana. I shouldn't make you guess, but it's no fun if you don't get a chance to. I don't know, a puppy? You wish. Take a seat first. You must be exhausted trudging through the snow. Let me get you some hot water. Thanks. Is it food? Well, I did bring that too, but that's not quite it either. So what is it you're so happy about? That you haven't guessed yet? I don't know, I give up. Boo. But here, it's this. What is that? She took out something and showed it to me with an expression as if she had found a priceless treasure. Something precious. A shining and fragile-looking gem. A diamond? What is this? It's actually much more valuable than that. What do you mean? Here, let me show you. My first impression was wrong. I thought she had found a gemstone that was worth a lot of money, but money had no meaning anymore. Just like that, she found the mortar and pestle from the kitchen and ground up the fleeting crystal she brought me. Even though I had gotten that cup of water for her, she poured the powder into the water and stirred, handing me the cup. Drink. Freya, I don't. Just trust me. Fine. It's sweet, but also strangely familiar. I went to the north, near the ruins. You went to such a dangerous place? Sorry, but because of that, I met some people. They showed me how to find it and how to use it. I said it's sweet, but not that sweet. Something like this is not worth the danger, Freya. It's medicine. It'll make things alright again. Medicine? Something like that is really possible? I don't really believe it. It sounds too suspicious. I didn't believe it either, but they showed me. I just have to... It's a little complicated, but it's medicine that works. Anyway, just trust me on this, okay? Please, I have a really good feeling about this. Please? Alright. I was still not really convinced, but Freya was not someone who would lie to me. At the very least, she had gotten good intentions. That I was sure of. I've noticed something recently, Sana. The little stuffed toy. You kind of look like a worm wrapped up in the blanket. A cute little worm. Cute? Worms are not cute. Yes, they are. If I were a worm, would you still love me? Of course, I'd build a whole terrarium for you and feed you worm food every day. Psst. I appreciate the thought, but I'm happier being a human after all. Which do you prefer? Worm me or human me? Let me see. This shouldn't even be a question. Can't I have both? No, you have to choose one. Then I'll stick with human you, the small and cuddly human Sana who loves me the most. Now if the other option was a worm, I don't know. Having a giant dragon as a friend. I'd still be choosing you in the end. Which would you choose, Sana? If I were just plain old me, a worm or a worm? That's not even a question, Freya. I'd choose the normal human Freya who I love the most. Aw, I love you the most too. Aw. I placed my head on her shoulder, and as I started to feel sleepy, she placed her hand over mine. I felt safe and at ease. So warm. And all I could do was sap away that warmth. I wished I could do more than that. I wanted to become someone who could support her rather than someone who always had to be supported. Out of the corner of my eyes, I suddenly noticed a flash of red. Partially buried in the snow but not yet fully enveloped by the white, I found her scarf a few paces away from where I had ultimately stopped. I went forward. Digging it up, I patted away the dry snow that clung to it. There was her scarf, but where was the owner? With the rattle of the snowfall, I estimated that she must have only lost it recently. A spark of hope rose in me that I could reach her soon. As much as I wanted to find them, I could not see her footprints in the snow. Feeling that the scarf was not wet, only chilly having been in the snow, I placed it around my neck. With the red close to my heart, I felt a little braver already. I had to keep going. To give up when I was this close would be such a tragedy. Freya! Where are you? No one responded. I wasn't expecting a miracle. I just wanted a happy reality. Nothing had to be perfect. Once we met again, we still had to deal with our grievances, but I had to find her. I pulled myself up with my newfound final reserves of strength. Relying on instinct alone, I had a gut feeling that she had to be in this direction. Forward, forward, I just had to move forward and reach her. Left foot forward, right foot forward. The snow cleared even more before my eyes before it slowly came to a stop. In the distance I saw a figure. I felt as if I saw her but couldn't get closer. No, she was getting further away. She was going to disappear. I didn't understand why, but that thought tugged at my heart. I ran after her. Freya! She and I, if I were to talk about the two of us, I barely knew where to start. Even the details of how we first met seemed rather unremarkable. Kids growing up in the same district, I didn't find it strange that we crossed paths. At some point in time, we simply realized that the other existed. We became acquaintances. I didn't think that we were particularly compatible people, but before I knew it, we had become inseparable, the best of friends and something more than friends. Or so I like to think. Achoo! Bless you. I'm gonna turn the sound down a little. Thank you, Freya. There was a time I went outside with Freya. What for, I forgot. I only remember thinking that the faded out streets walked on should have been familiar but looked so foreign. They shouldn't have looked so grey only because of the snow. After all, snow wasn't unusual for this country. It's snowing outside again. Next year we should really go on a trip somewhere warm, like Hawaii or maybe somewhere down south. I hear it's summer right there now. We really should. We've been saying it forever, but it never goes our way. What was it last year? Even though I didn't get sick, I ended up breaking my arm. And now with the stuff that's been happening outside, yeah, well, who knows, maybe things will get better by next year and we'll finally get to go on our trip. Where to? Hawaii sounds nice. But it might not be the southern hemisphere. Maybe New Caledonia? We could go to Australia and fight emus too. I will better the emu fighting right now. Better than fighting penguins. I don't want to be fighting anything. Where do you want to go then? I don't know, there are too many choices. I can't think of anything right now. There's always next year to decide. Our footsteps crunched on the snow-covered ground. My eyes took in the unfamiliar familiar. Fewer people were outside than usual, even when taking into account how most prefer to stay indoors during winter. For a moment, I thought I saw a ghost. What is it? That person. They look so washed out. Do you know them? No. We shouldn't stare, let's go. Okay. Any news from your parents? They wanted to be back by the holidays, but with the way things are looking, it seems like they're still stuck abroad for another few weeks. This can't go on forever. They'll be able to come sooner or later. And I'm like, and until they make it back, I'll still be here for you. I know. We had the bad habit of putting off our planning till later, which probably contributed to how we never did get to go on the elusive trip we like to talk about. Back then, we still had an excess of hope that things would return to normal. But my parents never did come back. I kept running after the figure I saw. It was not moving yet. It seemed like it wasn't getting any closer. The snow hindered me, making my feet sink deeper into the white quagmire with each hurried movement. The wind pushed me back. Even my own useless 2 feet got in the way. The snow itself was trying to stop me. I could feel it seeping out of the whiteness, covering my consciousness with an ice-cold haze. Was I too exhausted to go on? Had my very essence reached its limit in this disappearing plane? I tried to reject the notion because I had to keep going. As if the very memory of her were fading away into the white, A harsh wind blew by a thick veil of white snow, blocking my view of her figure. No, it wasn't snow. This was just a curse. What would it try to take away next? My name, myself? Even so, I couldn't let go of the part of me that needed so desperately to take just one more step. The wind howled. The snow began to fall once more. White filled my vision. How dare you try to take her away from me? My call was choked back in my throat as a powerful blast of Arctic wind slammed into me. The sheer force knocked my small frame out of balance, and I tumbled back into the snow. I tried to regain my composure and power through the gusts of blade-like winds. Slowly, step by step, I approached the figure. It was a tree. I felt my heart sink. I couldn't bear this any longer. I wanted to go home. Or just give up. No. No, that's not it. She wouldn't give up this easily. She would probably laugh at herself for something like this and move on. I need to be like her. Give me your strength, Freya. I slowly trudged on through the blizzard. Do you ever think about that, how the bonds we form with people change us as well? I think Ray Bradbury said something like, friendship is like you're both made out of clay, and whether you know it or not, you're both molding each other, I guess. I don't think we can go on our trip anymore. Oh? We haven't talked about that in a long time. Going overseas would be, whoops. What did I press? Going overseas would be out for the foreseeable future, but we could always try going on a road trip instead. No emus. Wow, you still remember that? I don't think there are emus in Italy, and I hear it's pretty warm down there in the winter. It's a bit far away, but we could definitely do it by land. Yeah, that would be nice. Or Spain too. I don't know anything about the Mediterranean islands, but both still exist, so maybe that's an option too. But I don't think we can do it anymore. I can't do it anymore. Sana, I don't think... No, you'll get better. You will, I know it. Sana, you'll get better. It's just the fever. No, that's not it. We'll find something. I'll go out and find some medicine. You'll be fine in no time, Sana. And we'll get to go on that trip, I promise you. We'll... Freya. I can't remember. No matter how hard I try, I can't remember their faces, Freya. Who? My parents. I can't remember what they look like, what they sound like. I don't even remember their names. Photo albums and diaries had been long wiped clean. My chest felt hollowed out, and I looked at my hands that felt like they'd been drained of color. Yesterday, today, tomorrow, I couldn't keep track of anything. I didn't know if there would be a tomorrow and what would come after. I questioned when I would cease to be me. I'm fading, Freya. I feel so faint. What if I can't remember you anymore? I'm right here. You can feel my heartbeat. I won't leave you your side as long as you're willing to let me be with you. I won't let you forget me either. I'll always remind you that I'm here. Hick. So hang on a little longer until I find something. No, don't go. But if I don't try, Freya, I just want to spend the end with you. I don't want to spend the end without you. I don't want to spend the end with you. I want to spend the future with you, Sana. Then, just for today, let's pretend that everything is still normal. Alright. I had always been bad at make-believe, but Freya was good at it. But what did normal even mean anymore? Step. 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 The sky, still covered in snow-letting clouds, was dark. I couldn't tell the time of day, but surely night had yet to fall. Moving my foot forward once more, I felt my center of mass shift. Into the snow I stumbled. For a moment I felt as if I was drowning in the whiteness that surrounded me in all directions. My vision flickered as I forced myself up to my feet, brushing away the snow on my body to no avail amidst the constant white precipitation. My arm shook. When I breathed in, a sharp pain pulled in my chest, and invisible icicles seemed to sprout in my throat. How long had I been here walking? I pushed myself forward. My ankle seemed to crunch oddly in the ever-accumulating snowfield. If I twisted it, the cold and boots dampened the pain. Eventually the snow lightened up. Yet when I looked around, there seemed to be nothing here, only a dilapidated ruin of a landscape covered by snow. So much had disappeared that I could barely tell where I had come to. No, I really simply shouldn't tell where I was I simply couldn't tell where I was anymore, if this place even existed in the world anymore. I stumbled again. My limbs shook with an unfamiliar exhaustion. As I couldn't find the might in me to stand, I crawled forward a few more meters until I had no more strength left to move. What now? I'll just close my eyes and rest a bit. I can't tell if your hands are cold or warm through the gloves. My hands are always cold. I don't mind, I'll just warm you up since mine are always warm. There's a saying too, cold hands, warm heart. Your heart is warmer than mine. It's okay, I'll warm your heart too. Hehe. Without any hesitation, she took my hand and gripped it firmly. When I looked at her, the world seemed to regain its colors, even if only a little bit. There's something nostalgic about it. A certain feeling had been bubbling in my chest for a long time. It wasn't painful at all, rather it was something warm and reassuring that I kept hidden away without saying. I didn't feel that I needed to say it. Your cheeks are a bit flushed. Really? They are. Maybe you should be in bed. No, I'm alright, I'm a bit tired from being in bed all day, if I'm being honest. Oh, yeah. But I seem to be feeling better. I guess that crystal stuff really does work. I told you it works. I guess it does, even though you won't tell me what it is. Cough. She was caught in a fit of coughing. Freya, I'm fine. It's nothing, just a small fever, that's all. But I just need some rest, okay? And I'll be fine. What are you doing? I pull Freya over into the bed, covering us both with the sheets. No, I don't want to give it to you. Shush, don't worry about it. I'll keep you warm. All right. Freya? Yes? I just wanted to say your name. I trust in you to remember for me if I ever forget. Yeah. I trust you too. I like the sparkles in their hair. Look at the detail there. I looked outside through my room's window. Nothing, no color, just pure white. An absence of color. I wondered about the other families that were holed up in their homes. Struggling, trying to weather the storm, not knowing when it would lighten up, if at all. Were they trying to hold these small precious moments of daily mundanity? I like the writing in this. Or was it just me, desperately trying to hold myself together, keeping myself as I was? The days were blurring together. How long had I been stuck here? 5 weeks, 2 years? I didn't know, just thinking about it made me scared. But Freya was always here, as long as she was with me. I didn't really mind anything else. Gasp. I hoarsely coughed out snow from my lungs. It was trying to kill me, trying to get inside me. I tried to get a grasp of my surroundings. I slowly started to remember. I had collapsed in the snow. Still coughing, I struggled to dig myself out of the thick blanket that was still piling on top of me. If I had woken any later, I might have suffocated. That is, if I didn't freeze to death first. It was so bright. Ugh. I have to keep moving. Scanning the horizon, there were a few distinct shapes within a few miles. Some buildings, ruins perhaps, or even a campsite. It was difficult to tell from this far away. In any case, it meant shelter, so I headed towards the shadows in the distance. If I closed my eyes, would I forget and be forgotten? Snow continued to fall outside, covering the disappearing world in white. People faded away, losing everything and being lost in a world that no longer sustains memories. Today as well, I holed up in my room and waited. Knock, knock. There was that familiar sound at the door. She came again, even though I told her not to come anymore. She still came here each and every day. Sana, I brought you some food, and also brought you your medicine. I thought I told you to stop coming here. You have to take it, alright? As long as you close your eyes and take it. Just pretend. Everything will be alright. I'm used to taking bitter medicine, but I won't take that. It's not medicine, Freya. If you don't take it, you'll disappear. Aren't you afraid of disappearing? That was true. More than that, I was afraid of her disappearing. Yet I was too much of a coward to open the door and look at her face. If I did, my convictions would waver. She couldn't keep going out to find those crystals. She couldn't keep coming back here. She couldn't, not for me. Both of us were obstinate. I'm alright, even if I disappear. Sana, do you remember our special place? The one where we used to play at? Yes. Is it still there? What? The lake? I couldn't remember. All I had was a fuzzy feeling that once upon a time we had spent our childhood at a place. Sometimes I wonder, the world outside, does it even exist anymore? It's all covered in snow. Is it all covered in snow? Or has everything simply disappeared? From the world itself in our memories. You're not wrong. A lot has disappeared. Places I wanted to go with you, places we hold dear. They've crumbled and disappeared. But we're still here. We're still alive, Sana, so we can't disappear yet. Is it worth just existing if nothing exists anymore? If you're still here, then it is. Liar. What about me? What if you're not? Freya, aren't you even scared that if you stepped out there, you won't be able to come back? I'm thinking about all the art that would be lost if that happened. There's so much information. I don't really think about it. After all, the world is ending, isn't it? Don't say that. I wasn't surprised, not really, but I still found myself at a loss for words. I had simply wanted her answer to be different, for her to think about it and be scared because I was scared. What if Freya really disappeared and never returned? I couldn't say anything. Silence. All we did was argue, unable to say anything to each other. I hated it. How far did you have to travel today to find anything? Not that far. Don't bother with those crystals anymore. It's wrong to use them. I'm alright even if I disappear, so either stop going or stop coming back. She mumbled something, but I couldn't hear it. Sana? What? No, it's nothing. I knew it wasn't nothing, but chose not to pursue her murmur. We exchanged no words, only silence. Only a week ago, this would have been extremely out of place between the two of us, but here we were now. I waited for her to say something or leave. What would I even say? I couldn't see her face, but I could still imagine how she would purse her lips in frustration. I wouldn't forget her, even if the world disappeared today, even if I ceased to exist today. Like she said, we were both stubborn. I'll leave this here by the door. Take care of yourself and make sure you're eating properly, alright? You too. I want her to leave. If only I could forget all of the sad memories in this world, then all would be well, yet I couldn't. Instead, the world around us crumbled to pieces bit by bit. I, who hadn't left this home for a long time, could only look outside to the white that blanketed the town around us. I could no longer remember what hid underneath the snow. Perhaps if the snow ever melted, everything beneath would have already faded away. No longer these. Lost its details, its form, its very shape. Forgotten by those around them, forgetting themselves, one day, without anyone noticing, people too lost their individuality and ceased to exist. Where did they go? Who were they? Had they even existed? All that remained was the gap they left behind in fragments of broken souls. That was the illness plaguing those still left behind. That was mine as well. After a while, I opened my door. As Freya said, she left what she brought by the door. I gingerly picked it up, seeing the food and the so-called medicine. The medicine took the form of a crystal, a small magical-looking thing. So small and fragile, just like our memories. Hang on, I need to drink some water. There we go. I didn't want her to go out to retrieve these things, but I simply couldn't hate her for bringing them to me. Instead, I simply shut her away and rejected her. I put the crystal down. I wouldn't take this medicine even if it meant I had to disappear. Closing the door, I returned to my solitude and waited. On the next day, no knock came at the door. Then the next day, no knock came at the door. Freya stopped coming back. She's not coming back. You were the one who told her to leave. She chose the crystals over me. Oh, music is a little loud compared to my voice. I'll turn it down then. Okay, hopefully this is good. Thank you for letting me know. Maybe she just didn't want to deal with you anymore. Outside, the snow didn't stop. The wind howled like someone was crying or screaming. Bitter hail battered the windows and the roof. I couldn't see beyond the turbulent white that blocked out the sun. Inside, all was dark. I felt the cold seeping into my room, into my heart. The heating and insulation of my home still worked fine, but I couldn't find the warmth. Where had the warmth gone? It was cold. I worried, and worried. Maybe Freya hated me now. But what if she was still outside? What if she had really gotten into trouble? What if something bad happened? Even as I wallowed, she never returned. I dragged myself to the door to the outside world. Extending my hand to the handle, I couldn't bring myself to open it yet. Thud, thud went the wind, the snow, and the hail at the door. The outside world was scary. Would I simply wait and see? No, that was unacceptable. Even if I were to disappear at this moment, I still existed. My body still breathed and moved and remembered. To idle about and think of the future when said future might not even exist was such a waste. Throwing away the hesitation called thinking, I threw the door open. Cold flew at my body. I squeezed my eyes shut at the chilling wind and snow going right into my face, stumbling and falling onto my butt at the sudden shock. Before I even got a chance to step out, the storm threw the door back shut. I wiped the snow out of my eyes with the sleeve of my now wet shirt. I felt as if I had been given a wake-up call. Was I an idiot? I hadn't even gotten changed. Taking a slow, deep breath, I calmed myself down and pondered upon what I would do next. For someone who spent her days thinking, surely I could be considered. My head was filled with transient cups. So I went outside, this time with a tad more arrangement. I dug through the closet to find clothes, sweater, a jacket, proper pants, boots, all. Lacing my boots with difficulty, I prepared myself to go outside. I returned to the final door between the inside and the outside. Firmly holding onto the handle, I opened the door slowly against the force of the storm and stepped outside. Then I closed the door, squinting as the snow battered against me. I couldn't even count how long it had been since I last left my home. Goodbye, home. I promised to come back to you with her. Waving the door goodbye, I began to walk, wondering if my dear home will still be there by the time I return. As I approached closer to the shapes I saw in the distance, I realized that they were indeed just two buildings, albeit strange-looking buildings. They had almost no distinct features, just pure black blocks. There were no signs of life anywhere. I cautiously wander inside of the structures, taking my time to slowly check out my surroundings. Military complex, like everyone had gone up and left. The lights were still on, and there was heating. There were some odd-looking computers that were still on and functional. Monitors displaying charts of data that I didn't really comprehend. Various research papers were scattered around as if someone had been frantically looking for something. After wandering for a little bit before I stumbled upon a particular looking room. The contents of the room itself were bare, all except for a table and something that resembled a tray. It was obvious that there was supposed to be something it was meant to hold, but now it was missing. I only realized later that there was a hole on the other side of the room. The glass was shattered. Someone had come here and took whatever this place was holding. Something that they weren't supposed to take. Everything felt a bit out of place, and suddenly it seemed like I was not supposed to be here. I wanted to leave as soon as possible. I took a breath once I was outside of the building complex. Freya, where are you? There was only one place left to check, it seemed. I took another deep breath and tried to steady my mental state. Then I headed towards the other building. That crystal we saw in the lab, was that? I wonder if that was one of the crystals where the medicine came from? How much longer can I keep this up? What's up? Keep what up? What can't you tell me? Is it something related to me? It's not related to you. You're a bad liar, Freya. I've always been able to tell. If I said it, even if you wouldn't believe me, I've really messed up this time, haven't I? So it's something important. Related to me, this illness, the medicine you've been bringing me? The last one, huh? Yes, it seems that my third guess was the right one. Is there any way I can convince you not to dig any further? No, I want to ask you what you've been hiding from me, Freya. What are the crystals you've been bringing me? They're medicine. Beyond that, it's complicated. Just tell me. She breathed a heavy sigh. They're the things that people leave behind once they disappear. It's their leftover essence that eventually congeals into crystal form after a while under the right conditions. I don't really understand much of it, but it's like a part of someone, their memories, their color. What? I felt sick, a rolling, undulating feeling in my chest filled with nausea. I felt sick, not because I really felt sick about eating that medicine, but because I didn't feel as sick as I thought I would. I felt empty that Freya had lied to me about something this important. I felt empty that I knew I probably could still forgive her. What have I been consuming? Why didn't you tell me? I knew you wouldn't take them if you knew the truth. Did you know from the start? No, someone told me later on. That's a lie. Don't go out and find them anymore, Freya. I won't take the crystals anymore. Sana. I didn't understand. So complacent and happy just to be with her each day, feeling assured that a miracle had arrived to stop my deterioration. I had been so blind. Her image in my eyes became blurred. When had tears flooded my eyes? I was really a crybaby. I thought as my shoulders shook with the anguish I couldn't articulate. She reached out a hand to wipe away my tears, but I took a step back. Roughly rubbing my eyes that just wouldn't stop leaking, I tried to look her in the eye for the last time. I felt as if I were looking at a stranger. The world disappeared. I slowly began to crumple apart. The places we knew, the people we met, the memories we made, all of them had scattered long ago. They turned pure white, just like the snow outside, so prettily without thinking I could almost just embrace it and forget everything. Except it was a painful thing, as painful as the snow was cold and suffocating. Without realizing, the dear and precious bond between us had frayed and turned into something I no longer recognized, as if it too wanted to disappear. I didn't want that. I didn't want to lose her. I think you should just go. Thus I was now alone. Even as I reminisced about the past, when I opened my eyes, she wasn't there. Of course she wasn't there. I was the one who chased her away. She came to knock at my door each and every day. I refused to open it for her. I turned her away. Looking out the window, I noticed the snow and started to fall again. The snow had started to fall again. The sky darkened. When I went to prepare food and eat, I couldn't help but feel that everything tasted like nothing. Not strong, not faint, not bland or disgusting, it just tasted like nothing. After the meal, I swallowed some pills dry. Vitamin supplements, these weren't medicine either. I didn't like the bitter aftertaste of medicine tablets. In the end, medicine was bitter, wasn't it? If not in taste, then in essence. My mind wandered before everything fell apart, but remembering was so terribly difficult, as if my past had already crumbled to nothing. This illness would devour me one day. Should I have asked it to devour me faster? The snowfall grew heavier and heavier until I couldn't see past the veil of white at my window. I wondered if Freya was all right, if she was outside even as a snowstorm raged. I didn't even know anything outside of my home anymore. I felt like a bird in a cage, or perhaps a caterpillar in a chrysalis partially torn open by someone else. I was unable to fly, unable to struggle, trapped in an indecipherable shell. Maybe I was like a worm that couldn't have become a butterfly to begin with. The outside world was scary. What if there was already nothing there? Holding up inside today as well, I waited. The black cube-like building was identical to the other one next to it. However, on the inside it couldn't be any different. Oh. The walls, the floor, the ceiling was all covered in the familiar crystalline substance. It was like a growth, flowing everywhere, consuming, eating away at everything it touched. It was everywhere, filling every orifice it could find, covering every surface it could see. Jagged and sharp edges threatened to cut and shred as I tried to make my way past various structures of crystal formed from the ground. In the middle of the room there was a figure laying on the ground. Freya! I ran over and kneeled over her. She turned to face me. She spoke, her lips moved, but I couldn't hear her voice. Surely my ears weren't broken. Her voice did not reach me. Why couldn't I hear her? I staggered closer to her. That expression on her face was so painful. For the first time I noticed that she was fading away too. When had that started? Such a thing wouldn't happen to a person immediately. She placed a hand on my cheek. She was saying something to me. I couldn't feel the warmth of her hand through the glove. Then she kissed me on the lips. Apparently, first kisses tasted sweet like hope, but all I could feel was a sour bitterness. The kiss that lasted for too short a period ended. She broke away from me and spoke, or maybe simply mouthed to me that precious phrase of "I love you." Love. The love she spoke of was the same type of love I'd been holding inside. Tell me that later, when we've properly reconciled, when I can properly tell you that my feelings are just the same as yours. Why are you fading away too? I guess even I wasn't immune to it. I'm sorry, I never got the chance to apologize. I shouldn't have lied to you. I can see you want to say it's alright. I just wanted to make things right, even if how I did it was wrong. I'm sorry, Sana. I won't do it again. I won't betray your trust anymore. Even if not in this lifetime, not in this world anymore. For the rest of our time here, and for if we ever meet again after everything disappears. I can't hear your voice. Don't look as if you're about to disappear. Don't do this to me. Even though oh, hang on. And we're back. Even though I knew that she was talking and inexplicably could tell the words she spoke, I still couldn't hear her voice. I still remembered that she existed, that she was such an important existence to me. I hadn't forgotten her, so she couldn't fade away yet. Her name, I thought it was, of course it was. My mind stalled. She was someone so important to me. I wanted to call out her name again and tell her that I would remember her, for her if she tightly, my own voice not escaping my throat. She hugs me back. Her hugs were so very firm, so very solid. She was still there. Then I realized that I was also dissipating. I felt her whisper into my ear, something that I could not hear. She gripped me so tightly that it nearly hurt, as if she was also afraid I'd fade away. Her name, her existence, her everything. How could I forget any of that? Not now. I wouldn't let her go yet. Even if the world wanted to take her away, it would have to take both of us away at the same time. We promised each other that we would remember each other for each other. Freya. You're Freya. You can't disappear. Sana. My vision blurred. Finally, I heard her voice. At that moment, my consciousness snapped and everything turned dark. I woke up to a familiar ceiling. For a moment, I questioned if I had really rushed out into a snowstorm and reunited with Freya at what seemed like the edge of the world. It didn't feel real, mere fragments of a fever dream or a hallucination. I was afraid that I had only... Sitting up and looking around in a panic, I was flooded with relief. Soon I drifted off to sleep again, my exhaustion finally caught up to me. Achoo! I'm gonna save. Being sick sucks. You're lucky you're only sick. I really don't know how you dragged us back home. Isn't there anything that'll make me healthy in a jiffy? So Freya was able to drag us both home. I think there's still a cold medicine somewhere in the medicine cabinet. The cherry-flavored syrup stuff? No, I think it's honey lemon flavor. It's the honey lemon flavored one that tastes like fertilizer. Is it alright if I say that I don't want to have any of that? Of course, it's healthier for your body to fight off the cold itself than to rely on medicine from the start if it's just a cold. Alas. Speaking of medicine, the crystals disappeared already, didn't they? Yeah, they did. So fast. Well, it's not like I can find any more around here anyhow. That's a weird weight off my shoulders. If you find more, you should take them. This might be hypocritical of me, but if I disappeared and left one behind, I would want you to keep living, so... Geez, don't say that. That's not to say I don't feel the same way. If I disappeared before you, I would want you to keep living too. I don't plan to actively go search out the crystals anymore. As for what would happen if we do stumble upon one, well, I guess we can discuss it when we get there. Yeah. Just one thing, you're not allowed to disappear before me. Isn't that kind of unfair? No? Alright, then neither of us is allowed to go before the other. That sounds right, doesn't it? I nodded. So can you tell me again that you love me? I love you. In a romantic way. I don't know if you said what you like about me, so could you tell me? I love the way that that's sometimes silly but comes through with things in the end. I like how you're positive even when I'm gloomy. And you're warm. I love it when you hold my hand. I always feel comfortable when you're by my side. Maybe this is strange to say, but I like the timbre of your voice. I also like your strength and honest earnestness, even when you make mistakes. I just love you a lot because you're you. I wish I had told you earlier, so maybe I'm also happy that you were the one who ended up confessing first. What do you like about me? I like your everything. Your pretty green eyes, your silky hair, the way you smile, the way you laugh, your slightly cool body temperature and your delicate fingers. Your stubborn behavior, the way you're just a little picky about food, how your eyes will just light up when you're happy, and how you'll rely on me when you're sad. I can naturally keep going. I've been in love with you for a long time, although I've learned something new recently that I like about you. She gave me a quick peck on the lips. The soft taste of your lips. You tease. I love you too. I playfully smacked her with a pillow and then buried my face in it in embarrassment for a few seconds. What should we do from now on? Let's go on the trip we've always been talking about. Where to? I think we don't need a destination. We never could decide, so maybe it's better if we just head off on the trip and go where our heart tells us to. A trip, huh? With the way things are, the only option is a road trip. The snow will melt and the roads will be all right to drive on. Yes, I think that's a good idea. As soon as the weather turns better, we can set out on the trip. Until then, I guess we have to prepare for it and get ourselves ready. Do you know how to drive? Legally speaking. Illegally speaking? I don't have a license, but I can ride a motorbike just fine. That's the same with Detective Ambrose. He had his driver's license revoked and before I met him, and that's why he used to drive the Reliant Robin, because Reliance let you drive them with a motorbike license because they're so light. But now I drive the Reliant from mystery to case to other case. There should be one in the garage at home. The sidecar is big enough to store quite a bit of supplies. I like that idea. A road trip via motorbike. Right, doesn't it sound like fun? Yep, it does. Aww, it's got a sidecar. Talking about a trip, we always did that. But actually going on the trip, we had yet to do so. If we were to talk about tomorrow, the scarce tomorrows. Road trip, yeah! Also, welcome, Cryo! If we were to talk about tomorrow, the scarce tomorrows that might not exist anymore after the next today, we wanted to spend that tomorrow together. Hang on, I want to drink my hot cocoa. Delicious. Rather than staying holed up inside forever, going out together to see what remained of the world was a better way to end it. For all that had disappeared, so much more remained to be seen. Cryo says, I've been here the whole time just enjoying the story. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm enjoying it too. I'm glad the ending appears to be happy. So I'm happy. Because it was getting so sad, so I really wanted them to be okay by the end. When spring came, the roads melted. We were still here, thus on that road trip we went. They finally got to go on their road trip. Like an item on our long-time bucket list crossed off, we traveled the roads that had crumbled under the pale skies. She showed me all that was beautiful in this world. Eventually both of us would disappear, like snow that melted away in the spring. we would leave no footprints, not here. Yet the impressions we made in each other's hearts wouldn't be erased. The world lost its colors, reverting into a pure white canvas. She and I continued onwards in the small but fulfilling journey of our short but precious lives. When I closed my eyes, I simply remembered her and was remembered. The end. This is such a nice ending, CG. And what I liked about it, Cryo was so good and poetic in places, which I really liked. I just like the writing style. I like this menu too. It's animated with snow, with the logo in the center. It's a nice design. It's got this sort of warm color, cold color gradient on the snowflake. Thank you for streaming. Oh, thank you. Thank you for coming. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Chino. And these are the credits. I recommend playing through this game yourself as well. You can find it on itch.io. I'll read out the game page again. It's don't-touch-me.itch.io. That's don'ttouchme.itch.io. You can find the game there, and I really enjoyed it. And the art too. I really enjoyed the art as well. I like the style, it's so cute. And all the details in it. Since we finished the playthrough of the game, I'm going to find someone for us to raid. Let's see. Who is currently live right now who we can raid? Oh, Foldable Human is playing Hades, so we'll go there. Foldable Human makes the Folding Ideas YouTube video essays. He made this great one that I watched on the film The Book of Henry. It was a very good video essay that explained that film. Okay, so we're going to raid him. And I'll continue my playthroughs of the Winter Jam games later in the week, hopefully. And I'll see you then. Ta-ra!